What is going on, world? It is me. I am back. If you haven't been here before, my name is Davin Jackson. I run Alpha Cybersecurity, which is my blog site, which you can see here. I am I guess you could say a cybersecurity professional, but my focus is on hacking and penetration testing. And this is my stream. So, welcome back to the viewers who have been on before. And if you are a first time viewer, thank you for joining and welcome. So, I just posted an article. If you look right here, it literally posted at 5 o'clock today, which is a couple things that I actually wanted to go over. So, I'm back. I've been gone for a couple weeks. Took a small break. Went on vacation with my family, and just enjoyed them and enjoyed the time off and enjoyed. Excuse me one second. If anybody's out here in the chat, can you guys see me? Mr. Demon, thank you. Okay. All right, so, like I said, I was on vacation for the last couple weeks. Just took some time off, needed to step away for a minute. Spent some time with my family, went away to Disney World for the 4th of July, which was really cool. Just got to spend time with my wife and my kids and my family members who just came along with us on the trip. It was definitely well deserved and well needed. I've been kind of going crazy for the last, I don't know how long, but it definitely felt good to step away for a minute. I want to give a shout out to my wife who made sure I didn't bring any laptops or anything that I could use for hacking or anything like that on the trip. I had my tablet and my personal cell phone, which isn't rooted, or I don't have anything on there because that's my personal phone. So thank you for that. Like I said, we enjoyed Disney. Didn't quite enjoy the lines, but we enjoyed the time together, the rides, the experience. The fireworks show was amazing. We also went to Universal Studios, which by far was a really fun 2 days with going there. Got to see my wife all, fangirling over Harry Potter. So that was pretty cool. But while I was gone, a lot of things happened, I guess, that I missed out on. A couple things that I saw while I was, checking my phones while we were waiting in line for like food or waiting in line for the rides. Couple things that caught my attention that I wanted to speak on, or that I wanted to type up something really quick from my tablet and post an article about it, but my wife kept reminding me, nope, you're on vacation and you're not allowed to do that. So I just basically made a mental note of it or wrote it down and said, okay, these are things I was definitely going to address when I got back. So this stream today will basically be me catching up on some stuff, as well as I'll probably go on a couple rants about a couple things, just because, yeah, that's what I do. So, with that being said, if you can't see, I'm wearing one of my new shirts that I'm selling. It says, thanks for the free Wi-Fi. I have a TeePublic page that I'm selling a bunch of different t-shirts and stickers and other merchandise. So, you can go on there and check it out. I will provide the link shortly in the chat. And we can get it moving. So, like I said, it's going to correspond with this article here. Oh, look, there's my t-shirt. So, like I said, took the last couple weeks off, promised my wife. So one of the first things I wanted to go over was this article that I looked at and confirmed and did the research on it when I got back about Amazon holding onto your Alexa data and is holding onto your Alexa data indefinitely. So, I mean, that's pretty much self-explanatory. Think about it. Anything that you have said to Alexa, that Alexa has listened to, Amazon has a copy of it. And they say it's just the times you interacted with Alexa, but there have been reports where Alexa has come out and where there have reports that have come out where people have just been having general conversations and Alexa has recorded those conversations. I think there was one conversation where a couple were talking and Alexa recorded the conversation and I believe sent the recording to like the wife's boss or something like that. Luckily she didn't say anything that was like derogatory or that could probably get her fired or someone offended or anything like that, even though it was in her house. But Amazon was requested to respond to a bunch of questions from a senator in Delaware, Chris Combs, who asked them about how long their data could be held, how long do they hold on to the data, and for what purposes. So Amazon came out with a report last week that basically said they keep records of the voice commands, they keep them in text, they keep the recording, as well as they make text transcriptions and store them on their server. Amazon's explanation was that they hold on to the text transcriptions as well as the audio until the user decides to go onto the Amazon website and delete the recording manually. That's what they said, but in the letter later on, it revealed that the user can even delete the audio file, and sometimes it won't delete the audio or the text file. Their explanation was that they use the transcripts to improve their products. And they also stated that some transcripts aren't removed just because it's hard, it's difficult. Their explanation was that it would require employees to scrub the data over various places in their global storage servers, or they hold on to the data just because they feel like they need to and they don't notify the user. So Amazon's vice president, I can't remember his name, but he basically said, and I quote, you can read along with me, we already delete those transcripts from all Alexa's primary storage systems, and we have an ongoing effort to ensure those transcripts do not remain in any of Alexa's other storage systems. Translation, they're working on it. They can't tell when they're gonna fix it and if it's gonna be fixed. We do not store the audio of Alexa's response. So they store your questions, but not Alexa's response to your questions. However, we may still retain other records of customers' Alexa interactions, including records of actions Alexa took in response to the customer's request. And when a customer interacts with an Alexa skill, that skill developer may also retain records of the interaction. So, like I put down there, translation, it's more work than we want to do, or we just don't care about your privacy and want to keep your recordings and make our stuff better. By the way, we don't care to tell you if we hold on to your data either. So if you go on the website, if you go on my website, I actually have, one second, I actually have the letter of that was written to Senator Chris Combs from Amazon, from where is his name? From Brian Huseman, who is the Vice President of Public Policy. So he wrote this nice little letter explaining basically that they hold on to your stuff. So again, I'm not surprised by it. You can leave anything in the comments if you're surprised by it, but I don't think anybody who has followed anything in privacy or cybersecurity should be surprised. Amazon, Apple, Google, they've been storing people's data and personal information for years. They're going to continue to do it. That's how they make their money. That's how they strengthen their algorithms. That's how they strengthen their AI. Using all of this stuff. So all I can say is if you don't really need it, don't use it. Like, I don't have Alexa in my house, and that's by choice. My Fire Stick might have it, but other than that, like, I don't have an Alexa device. I don't allow my family to really have an Alexa device. Honestly, most of the stuff that they say make things easier, like smart house, smart home technology, like the Nest, and I don't keep any of that in there. I'm just paranoid. Maybe it's because of my job and what I do, but I just don't trust it. So that's my take on it. I'm not really surprised, but I think you should definitely contact Amazon if you're concerned about anything that you may have said or may have done in front of Alexa, because that's your data being stored out there. That's your information being stored, and God forbid if there's another massive data breach and Amazon gets hacked. So, not surprised at all. Anything that takes in any sort of data, you can assume is doing just that. Absolutely. Absolutely. They're gonna have the data up there, and they're gonna hold on to the data, and they're gonna use it again to make their products better. They weren't lying. So kudos to them for being honest after being forced to respond to the question from Congress. But yeah, you shouldn't really be surprised. So, moving on. Derp Troll sentenced to 27 months in prison. Now, I don't know how many of you people remember how old you guys were when this happened. I mean, this is only like what is this? 5 or 6 years ago. But Christmas holiday season of 2013 and early New Year, like January 2014, a lot of people's favorite games were going down. Xbox Live went down a couple times. Sony PlayStation Network went down a couple times. League of Legends went down. Minecraft servers went down. And come to find out, it was basically a bunch of hackers, and I'm going to use that term loosely, just like this, and I'll explain later why I'm doing that. But hackers were doing distributed denial service attacks or DDoS attacks on these network servers, and taking down the gaming servers, and basically just trolling and giving everybody a hard time who wanted to enjoy some video games online. Well, the person who seemed to be the mastermind behind it was just sentenced to a little over 2 years in prison. Austin Thompson, aka Derp Troll, was sentenced to 27 months after he was charged and pled guilty to causing damage to a protected computing system for launching a distributed denial of service or DDoS attack on several gaming services. So back in 2013-2014, he caused an estimated $95,000 worth of damages and he's going to have to actually pay all of that back to Daybreak Games, who, if you don't know, Daybreak Games is basically Sony. So he's going to have to pay Sony back $95,000 for taking down their online services. So to all the folks out there who think it's cool to DDoS or SWAT or dox or anything like that, don't do it. I mean, honestly, 27 months is one of the lighter sentences that I've seen. They're really heavy-handed with these tech-related crimes, these cyber crimes from like the Computer Fraud Act and everything like that. So 27 months, honestly, is light as opposed to what I've seen some other people get. He was arrested in the summer of 2014, and he didn't plead guilty until November of last year. Honestly, he had no choice but to plead guilty because he decided that when him and his people took down these sites, he tweeted about them, and you can actually still see the tweets because his Twitter page is still up. So if you actually go here, these are different tweets that he put up about different things that he took down. He tweeted when they went back up. He tweeted about other sites that went down that him and his people had nothing to do with. So he just really screwed himself. Again, that's the problem with social media and the internet. people do things for stupid purposes or bragging rights, and they put it on social media thinking that, oh, it's my page, it's my I set my page to private, or you can't use my data. That's so far from the truth. I mean, 9 times out of 10 now these days, the cops are actually going to social media first before they actually do any street walking to do any of their investigations. If a crime occurs, the first thing they do is go on social media. Then they say, okay, well, let's see if we can find any other people who may know. And a lot of the times, a lot of their cases get solved because they just looked at social media. So now you have this guy here. You have this guy here who basically does what he does. Not saying that he could have gotten away with it, because I'm pretty sure they could have had the proof anyway, but then you're out here admitting it. You have the right to remain silent, but few have the ability to do so. You're not telling any lies there. Just shut up. First of all, don't do it, but shut up about it. That's my personal take on it. You don't need to brag on social media, because social media is going to be the first one to get you in trouble. And everybody keeps talking about, oh, this person told on me, or this person ratted, or this person snitched. No, you snitched on yourself. You call it social media, you call it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, whatever, and law enforcement's calling it Exhibit A, B, and C. That's so don't do anything stupid, and shut up. Okay, next on the list. D-Link agrees to be audited for the next 10 years. To most people who don't know, D-Link is a router and webcam manufacturer. They're one of the biggest router manufacturers or network device manufacturers that out there, next to Linksys or anybody like that. But they're agreeing to be audited, I believe it's like every other year, for the next 10 years. No one agrees to do audits at all. Again, speaking from a professional standpoint, sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get someone to agree to do a penetration test or a vulnerability assessment for compliance purposes, just to stay compliant with HIPAA or PCI or whatever compliance they need to be compliant with. So for them to agree to just be randomly audited by a third party, that should be the first red flag. So I wanted to say that before I actually got into the story. Nathaniel Animations, hey, how you doing, sir? That is my son. Go check him out on his YouTube channel, Nathaniel Animations. He actually does a lot of really great drawings, and he is very talented. And I'm not saying that because he's my son. I'm saying that because he really is very talented. So, how you doing? So, D-Link, like I said, why would they agree to being audited for every other year for the next 10 years? Well, because they had to. They had no other choice but to. They had to settle a lawsuit with the FTC, which is basically the government, the Federal Trade Commission. What was the lawsuit about? The lawsuit basically was filed because they said D-Link practiced poor security practices, and that they weren't lying. Not that they weren't truthful, they weren't honest, they weren't compliant. They even went as far as accusing them of ignoring vulnerability assessments and reports from these vulnerability assessments. D-Link has been notorious, or their routers and webcams have been notorious for being just bad with security. Their webcams, I remember at one point reading, their webcams had hard-coded default passwords that were easy to guess. So I'm talking about you probably didn't even really need to use, a really deep password cracking word list to crack these passwords. And then there was also vulnerabilities that were found as far as their some user passwords being stored in plain text from their app, from their mobile applications. There were just all types of different vulnerabilities, and D-Link just kind of dragged their feet on fixing them and just ignored them. So the FTC stepped in and decided that they were going to charge them and file a lawsuit and fine them, and D-Link settled out of court. So as a part of the settlement, they agreed to doing these audits over the next 10 years, every other year. And they also agreed that they have to implement new comprehensive software security programs for all of their networking devices. So and it has to be approved by the FTC. When they get audited, the FTC chooses the third party to come in and audit them. D-Link has no control over who gets hired to do the audits. They have to just be compliant, and they just have to be open and forthcoming with all of the information that the third party needs. So again, because you wanted to, I guess, dick around and not do what you were supposed to do, now you always have to make sure you're on your P's and Q's, as you should be anyway. You're selling a product to your clients that are supposed to be trusting you for their security, trusting you that you're doing everything, you're doing your due diligence, because they spent their hard-earned money to buy your product to secure their family or secure their network, secure their businesses. And honestly, Asus got 20 years of audits. I wouldn't have been mad if D-Link got the same. And then the kicker is, even though they agreed to all of it, D-Link put out a press statement that said the FTC said we didn't do anything wrong. So you settled out of court. You agreed to be audited over the next 10 years. You agreed that you have to do these comprehensive security programs, and you have to implement all these new updates on all of your devices from the past and from here on out. But you're going to come up with the excuse and say, oh, they never actually convicted us, so we're good. Corporations. It's just the bullshit. And you can see I even wrote it here. They agreed to the terms. D-Link claims the FCC did not find them liable for any violations. Right. So, moving on, the next topic I want to go over is Florida. Now, I was just there. It was really hot, but beautiful state. Love Disney. Love Universal. Plan on going back. Want to go to SeaWorld. Wouldn't want to live there. Florida has done some really questionable things as far as law enforcement and stuff like that. But I'm not getting into that. That's not what this is about. But what I will go over is the fact that Florida seems to have a problem with ransomware. Now, is it because most of the population are older folks that are retired and, aren't tech savvy? That's possible. But there should still be some type of education, especially for their government, their state government or their local government, because this is who got hit in this next article. Basically, 2 towns in Florida were hit with ransomware, and they were forced to pay over 1.1 million in ransom. In ransom. So, Lake City and Riviera Beach, Florida, paid out $460,000 and $600,000 in ransom money in Bitcoin, respectively. So Lake City paid $460,000 and Riviera Beach paid $600,000. Why? Because one of their employees decided to click a suspicious link, and got infected with ransomware, which then infected several of their machines and locked up their data and encrypted it. And because they probably didn't have proper backups, they had to pay the ransom. It's common sense, people. You gotta back up your stuff. Back up anything that's important to you. Back it up. Especially if you're a business or you're a government. Back it up. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't happening in other states too. It's bad out there. Mr. Demon, you have no idea, again, how right you are, because I just read something that Georgia just got hit, either today or yesterday. And we all know, I believe last year, Atlanta got hit with really bad ransomware. So, I mean, Maryland was pretty much all of their technology from their government. Baltimore, maybe about a month or so ago, I think they're still dealing with the after effects of them getting hit with ransomware. Where I used to work in Connecticut, I used to work in a school system. We got hit with ransomware twice. The first time we got hit was pretty rough, but luckily we had most of our stuff backed up. And then when it happened the second time, we made sure our backups were more recent. That was a lesson that we learned after the first one. But you gotta have. My point is, you gotta have some type of backup, and you have to have backups done on a regular basis. You can't do backups like once a month. You can't do backups like quarterly. You have to do backups once a week, or you do a full backup and then do an incremental backup. I mean, this is all policy stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous that. It's not ridiculous that it's still happening, because people are always going to click links. People will always be the weakest link in security. You can have top-notch security, from physical security to the highest grade of encryption and all of it. But it's always going to be the human. The human will always be the weakest link in security. So that can't be avoided. So you're right. It is happening in other states, but my point is, when it does happen, you should still be prepared. In times of peace, you prepare for war, right? So if you know that this is going to happen, or you know that this is a possibility, you prepare for the possibility. So you should keep your backups. Now, like I said, the state of Florida has paid out over $1 million, and that's taxpayer money, because their employees clicked stuff and they didn't have the proper backups. So, which leads me to to my next thing, which is, honestly, that's probably why Lake City fired their director of information technology. Probably because of the same rant that we're talking about right now. They're forced to pay almost $500,000, Lake City, $500,000 in a ransom, where, honestly, like I said, when it happened to me years ago, all we did was say, okay, take everything off the network, wipe it, upload the new image, upload the most recent backup, and keep it pushing. That should be like disaster recovery number one. But it didn't stop there. Biscayne, Florida became the third city to be hit shortly after the other two. They said they were going to hire a private firm to see if they can recover the data, but they didn't rule out paying the ransom. So they're going to, I believe they said they spent something like $30,000 or $35,000 for an outside firm to come in and see if they can retrieve their data, and if they can't, then they have to meet the hackers demands, and pay them in Bitcoin, which we all know Bitcoin is pretty much untraceable, so they get to hack another day. Oh, what's going on, Napalm? Nothing. I'm just playing catch up. I've been on vacation for the last couple weeks, and I'm just catching up on everything that I missed, or some of the things that I missed while I was gone. So just giving my personal take on it, and just, catching up with the people. So, Facebook. So, last week, in one of the few moments that I had time to go read some stuff, like my emails or my Twitter or my Instagram or anything like that, I put up a post, and a friend from high school asked me what was my opinion about Facebook being down, and my response was, oh, Facebook's down. I didn't know. So yeah, I didn't know, and then the funny thing is as much as all this other stuff kind of interested me, and I was like, I wanted to respond, and my wife kind of put the brakes on it. When this one happened, I just kind of looked over at my wife and was like, "Oh, Facebook's down again," and she was like, "Oh yeah," and we were like, "Yeah," and just kind of kept them pushing. I have a real hard time with Facebook right now. Um, and anybody who's been reading my blog will know that I put up a post, which was actually my very first article that I published on this website about Facebook going down the last time when they were down for almost like 24 hours. Um, it opened my eyes to a lot of things when Facebook goes down or when social media goes down. People rely too heavily on social media. I'm 36, so I guess that would make me considered old school. But we didn't live in the time of social media, and we didn't live for social media. Um, these days, it seems like everybody is doing things for likes, and no one really knows what's genuine anymore. So, between that and Facebook's part in the Cambridge Analytica thing, and Facebook storing user stuff in plain text, and Mark Zuckerberg basically just kind of like, fuck privacy. Sorry, I shouldn't have cursed. But the guy, the CEO of WhatsApp, when Facebook bought him, I mean, he came out and said everybody should get rid of Facebook. I mean, you're basically a billionaire how many times over because of Facebook, and you're trashing it. One of the guys who was supposed to be next in line, after Zuckerberg decides to step away, he walks away. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with Facebook. And like I said, it really just kind of just turned me away from it. That I don't care for Facebook. I use it now mainly to, maybe check in on some family members or friends that I don't, have normal contact with, or I post pictures because I have family or friends in other states. Yeah, that's what this pretty much what this article was about. Was my thoughts on it when it first happened, what I thought what it could have been, how it affected their stock. But then, like, again, here's this picture here. This is basically a true story. Like, growing up, we rode around the neighborhood, and if we saw certain people's bikes, we knew who was where and doing what, and that's how we chose who we wanted to hang out with. Now is Facebook is just social media, and people's dependence on social media has almost been like a drug addiction, especially when it comes to like the younger kids. Like, for as long as I can, my children won't be on social media like that, because even though they're saying there's no true correlation, at the rise of smartphones and the rise of social media around 2015, both had something to do with the rise in teenage depression and teenage suicides, especially amongst girls. So, if you're gonna have these type of websites, I think there should be some accountability, or there should be some responsibility, to the young people or to certain people to protect them as well. So, with all of that, like I said, when Facebook went down this time, it kind of was just like, I really don't care. Like I said, I made this little meme about it. I don't know if you can really see it, but that's CJ from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, when he's like, here we go again. So I just basically, photoshopped it and made him look at Facebook's tweets with that same, here we go again. Because that was pretty much my response to it, like, all right. So Facebook spokesperson basically was like, one of our routine maintenance operations, we triggered an issue that made it difficult for some people. We're working on it. They said whatever they were doing during their routine maintenance triggered a bug that made it difficult for people to upload photos and videos. And like I said, I really didn't care. Only thing I did care about again is when we started getting into the technical aspects of it, when it was revealed what Facebook's artificial intelligence, how they labeled our pictures. So I mean, if you actually look, if you Google Facebook outage AI or Facebook picture AI, it'll show you a bunch of different people with their screenshots of what the AI registers labels their pictures as for Facebook. So this one was interesting. This one is from Danielle Abril. She's a reporter for, I can't remember who she's a reporter for. But if you look at hers, you probably can't read it. I don't know if you can, but it says, image may contain 5 people, including Danielle Abril, people smiling, people standing, hose, and indoor. So Danielle has not responded to any questions about whether or not were they out in the garden, were they using a gardening tool or whatever. But she did tweet, "Is this an error? Why does this tag of women standing together on my Facebook tag Facebook say hose?" And that's not the only one. Like I said, there was a few of them, but I just decided to just kind of use this one as a example of the Facebook AI. And there was one funny one from the CIA who has been accused of listening and spying on American citizens for years and years and years now, even before Edward Snowden. They put up a tweet that says, "Yes, we are affected by hashtag Instagram down too. No, we didn't cause it. No, we can't fix yours. Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again?" Which is hilarious because turning it off and turning it back on not only is a joke from the show The IT Crowd, which was an old show. Again, I'm showing my age. But honestly, I'm pretty sure turning it off and turning it back on fixes 95% of most tech problems, basic tech problems. So, let's go back to the comments. I swear the phone app listens to your conversations. Had some interest. Mr. Demon, yeah, we talk about that all between Facebook and Google. Like, it's scary. Like, my wife will be talking about a car, and next thing you know, an ad about that car pops up. It's like terrifying what they're doing. Like I said, my conspiracy theory brain tells me that you are absolutely right. They are totally listening to everything that you're doing from your phone or from your browser history as much as you try to protect it. Which brings me to another segue, is why you should get a VPN, especially when you're on the phone or you're online, because that will protect you. Because basically what the VPN does is it creates a tunnel that makes it hard for them to see anything while your data is being passed through. So you should get a VPN. You most definitely should get a VPN. And if I were to recommend a VPN to you, I would always recommend NordVPN, because they are by far one of the most secure ones. There's Nord and I believe ExpressVPN. It came in like a very close second, but NordVPN, the reason why I really stick with them is because they go above and beyond to show that they're secure. They even went as far as having an audit done on themselves by an independent third party, and the independent third party even came back and said that, yeah, everything that they say as far as clearing their logs or not keeping any logs is true. Which is important, because if people go on, even if you're with your VPN, if the VPN still keeps logs of your data, and you should become the subject of an investigation. Not that you're doing anything illegal, but if someone should get, a hand on those logs, they don't care that you're on a VPN, because the VPN is already, because they have the logs, so the logs will tell them anyway. So, that's my opinion on why you should get a VPN. I actually wrote up a whole article here about VPNs. So if you want, you can go check out that article. I will link it in the chat. But yeah, like I said, I'm the type of person where, like I said, oh, that's the other thing with NordVPN. You can link up this. You can use up to like 5 or 6 devices while simultaneously. So, and there's so many different things you can do. You can connect your VPN while you're on Netflix and view the Netflix content from other countries. You can buy cheaper airplane tickets. There's all types of little tricks and stuff you can do. But the number one reason you should get a VPN is just to secure yourself, because you're absolutely right. Everything seems to be listening these days. So that's enough of my plug for VPNs and NordVPN. So I believe this is the last one here. Let me just double check. Yes. So this one is probably one of the most important ones that I saw while I was on vacation. Oh, thank you, sir. I try. So, our Qualys certification is valuable. I have a free weekend coming up soon, and I was eyeing the vulnerability management cert 8-hour course. Yeah, Qualys certifications are valuable, especially to companies who use Qualys. Qualys is a very popular vulnerability scanner. So, I mean, there's what Qualys, there's and Nessus are probably two of the top vulnerability scanners that are out there. So, a good chunk of companies use Qualys for their vulnerability management, their vulnerability scanner. So I would say it's a good one to get, especially if you're going to be in like vulnerability analysis and or security analyst or anything like that. I would definitely say if you have the means to get it, go for it. Best case scenario is, like I said, it's super valuable and you become, and it helps you become better at what you do to gain that job or get that raise or whatever it is you're looking for. Worst case scenario is that, hey, you still have a cybersecurity certification for a very popular vendor. So even if the current job you have doesn't appreciate that certification, there are like 5 other ones that will. Like my that's my goal when it comes to certifications, is if you have the means to go for it and get it, get it. It makes you better. It makes you more knowledgeable. It makes you smarter in that field. Sometimes it'll end up making you the smartest person in the room, and it does it does nothing but improve your career trajectory. Like I have a whole bunch of certs, some that is worth it. So it'll always be worth it unless you're moving backwards. Like if you're in cybersecurity now, I wouldn't say, oh yeah, go by the way, go backwards and get the A+. That would just be ridiculous. So, back to this. YouTube. So last week I was sitting. I think we were out to dinner or something, and someone sent me something from Twitter from somebody that I follow, Cody Kinsey, who also uploads stuff for NoBite, which is a very popular website as well as YouTube channel that posts a bunch of different instructional videos on cybersecurity related topics, whether it be hacking or how to use different tools or whatever the case may be. But he put up an article he put up a tweet that said that basically YouTube blocked him from posting a video about how to hack, or about not how to hack, how to set off fireworks using Wi-Fi. So immediately everybody started wondering why, and then come to find out, YouTube is deciding that they want to enforce one of their policies for banning videos or giving community strikes against content creators like me or NoBite or IPSec or anybody for that matter. So if you see here, in their terms of service, one of the things that they have down here that they updated, I believe in April, they said you can't post certain things like instructional theft, violent events, eating disorders, hard drug use or creation. Basically they don't want you, doing a video cooking up meth or whatever. Or doing dangerous challenges, so they don't want you to do like the Tide Pods or whatever that people were doing like last year. But at the very bottom, it says instructional hacking and phishing, showing users how to bypass secure computer systems or steal user credentials and personal data. So when I first decided I was going to do a YouTube channel, I came across this, or actually, I came across this when I got the email about the terms being changed or whatever. And I didn't think of it as anything because I figured it shouldn't be a big deal. I don't consider what I do or any of the videos that I've seen to be anything like illegal or stealing credentials, because 9 times out of 10, most of the stuff that we do, we either have permission to do because we're testing our own stuff, or we're doing stuff on like Hack the Box, Vuln Hub, stuff like that. So I didn't think of it as anything. Now, if it showed somebody driving in their car with their laptop, hacking into people's Wi-Fi in the neighborhood, then yeah, absolutely. No, that you can't show how to do that. But if it's an instructional video, I didn't. Again, I never looked at it like that would be an issue, because I mean, if I'm being honest, watching videos on YouTube is probably 50% of how I got to be where I am. So what I usually do, especially when I started studying, what I usually do is I'll read a passage in the book. I highlight what I feel like is what I really need to know. The stuff that I don't know, I'll Google it, or if there's an attack that I want to learn, again, I Google it and look it up on YouTube, and sure enough, there's an instructional video explaining it. When I was struggling with buffer overflows, I went on, I believe it was like Computer File, that basically explained buffer overflows, SQL injection, stuff like that. So a lot of the stuff that allowed me to be where I am today came from watching it on YouTube. And one of the things I always said I wanted to do, even before I started the blog site, was I wanted to do a YouTube channel because I wanted to return the favor to the next crop of people who wanted to get into cybersecurity. Sometimes writing articles isn't. I'm lost for the word, but basically, some people learn better visually. I mean, I could write it and you can read it and you can see a couple screenshots, but sometimes actually seeing it, like me, I learn. I can learn from reading it, but I reinforce it by seeing it visually. So, me knowing that that's how I am, why wouldn't I help somebody else by doing the same thing? So I just think that honestly, this rule is just freaking ridiculous. And I know I am streaming on YouTube right now, but guess what? I'm not doing anything wrong because there's no Kali Linux machine or nothing. So this is just my opinion. So unless you're going to strike me for freedom of speech, then go for it. But I just think it's ridiculous now that, again, for years, YouTube came out and said, oh, this has been our policy for years. But at the same time, you weren't ever enforcing it. You just decided now you want to enforce it. Like I said, it's not like it's a video where people are DDoSing, like the first guy we were talking about, showing how you could DDoS video games. Like, if you showed that, fine. If you were showing how someone was doxing somebody using open source intelligence techniques, cool. If you showed someone breaking into someone's house by lock picking, absolutely. Strike them, ban them, get rid of it. But if it's an instructional video, what harm is it? And then I don't understand the inconsistency. So you're going to ban this, and I'm not going to post a video because I'm not going to show the video. I'm not going to show the screenshots, because at first I thought about doing that, but I'm like, I'm not going to give these ignorant people any light, and I'm not going to give them a view. And I'm not going to give them a view or show any people who are watching with me right now, show them. But you have people on YouTube at this very moment, like right now, who have videos up on filled with hate speech, bigotry, ignorance, you know, whatever you think that is bad, they have it. Okay, you have videos of people getting beat up, or you know, violence. You have these videos on YouTube right now. Why aren't those being taken down? And not only are those not being taken down, you got videos that are showing the same violence, the same ignorance, the same drug use, the same bigotry, all that bullshit. And guess what? They got ads running on them. So not only are you allowing those videos to keep going on and taking down instructional hacking videos, but they're monetizing them. Someone explain that to me. I started hoarding videos when I heard about it. Yeah, that's honestly what a lot of people are doing. Like I've had several conversations with a lot of people that are content creators in the cybersecurity world from the moment I got back. Because again, I was on vacation, so I didn't want to really get into it, but I did tweet about it a little bit because it just pissed me off when I first heard about it. Because let's be real, YouTube is the biggest video streaming or video content platform that's out there. And people use YouTube to put out their content and to make money off of their content. Let's just be honest. So in the conversations I was having with other people, you know, we talked about going to other platforms. We talked about, one person recommended BitChute, but I as much as I respect the whole freedom of speech thing, I just don't feel comfortable putting my stuff there for who I am. So if someone else wants to go over there and put it over there, that's cool. But I'm on the fence about that one. But there are all types of different platforms you can go on, but they're not as resourceful as YouTube, or you can't monetize it. Or I believe VikingSec had a very valid point that how are you going to migrate? Not only do you have to migrate your stuff, you're also going to have to migrate your viewers and your subscribers. So we're struggling to get subscribers, or I'm struggling to get subscribers. I think I only have something like 70 something subscribers on YouTube or whatever like that. But if I were to leave now, would all 70 of them follow me? No, I'd probably get like 10 to 15. Or maybe if you say a third of it, 25. Yeah, 25. So it's like they don't care because they're going to do what they do anyway. But I just thought it's just asinine that you're going to take down instructional videos or put strikes against content creators for basically trying to help a community that honestly is in dire need of knowledgeable professionals right now. Because, you know, everybody talks about how there's a shortage in cybersecurity and cybersecurity professionals, and it's 50% true. There is a shortage. There aren't enough qualified people to fill these positions. And then part of the reason is because you have employers who want you to have like a master's degree and 5 years of experience, and they're only paying you like entry level. Or you have people who felt like, oh, I have my bachelor's degree, I have no experience, but I'm gonna go apply for this senior level or this mid-level role. So that's where that's where the gap comes in, because you really don't have the people to fill the positions because they're either not qualified at all, or the employers want someone who is way too qualified and they're not going to pay them the money that they should get. So we need to fill it with knowledgeable professionals. so we can help that guy who got his bachelor's degree gain the experience, the technical experience. And sometimes you need to learn it by watching like an IPSEC video or one of my videos or whoever's videos to see where you went wrong, or to see, oh, that's why this exploit didn't work, or that's why this scan didn't go through. You know, again, if it were a video showing some illegal shit going on, absolutely cut it. But to cut the instructional stuff or to punish the content creators for posting stuff that's instructional, I just think it's just ridiculous. So like I said in the article, you see where Cody Kinsey had his original tweet. And then again, these are all the different questions. And then we were talking about how a bunch of different content creators started speaking about how YouTube started, you know, flagging their stuff, and then they have to go and appeal and complain, and then YouTube has to investigate it. And then after they investigate it, okay, yeah, sure, you're allowed, or no, you're not allowed. But by that time, you know, you got other videos that need to get put up, or you're not even interested in doing it anymore. I mean, if every video I put up has to, you know, that gets flagged because of their stupid algorithm, like if you see a command like, oh, nmap, like, oh, he's got to be hacking, put a strike on him. Oh, what's that? What's that dragon in the background? Oh, that's the Kali Linux dragon. Oh, no, that's hacking. Stop it. Who's gonna want to have to keep fighting with that? So I asked those questions. What are the content creators supposed to do? Should we fight them? I mean, like I said, they don't care. They feel like they're owned by Google. Google, Amazon, Facebook, like they're too big to fail. So there aren't enough people to put, you know, yes, you can complain, and yes, YouTube will push back on some, and there are some where YouTube will say, okay, here's a compromise, or there's some where YouTube will cave and say, you know what, you're right, you can have it. But is that going to work where that would work for someone like, you know, someone else who has thousands of followers? How's that going to work for me with 70 something followers? Or how's that going to work with someone else that has 300 followers? You know, there's going to be preferential treatment. So it's like, do you keep doing that? Do you move the content elsewhere? It might not be as resourceful, or you might not be able to monetize it, or you might not be able to make as much off of the ad revenue that you would do it from a YouTube. I mean, that still might be the move. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I put out here, these talks and stuff like that, I'm not doing it for monetization purposes. I'm just doing it because I like sharing information. So that might be a move. I mean, why would you want to keep uploading videos and possibly worrying about getting the videos pulled down or getting community strikes against you or whatever? So like you were saying about hoarding the videos, yeah, honestly, take the videos and host them yourself. Like, honestly, I think what I'm gonna probably end up doing is I'll probably put up videos like this one, or my Q&As, or my AMA videos. I might put those on I might put those up on YouTube, but anything that I'm gonna do that's technical, I might just host just off of my website, or I might just keep it on here on Twitch or on Mixer or, you know, Vimeo or whatever. I might have to check to see what their standards are, but yeah, at this point, YouTube is just ridiculous, and I feel like it, you know, it's just inconsistent. Like I said, I mean, hell. Anybody here use Free Code Camp? Okay, hold on. I see a question. For now, what about the famous IPSEC YouTube channel? If banned, many people studying security. Yeah, let me tell you something. I watch IPSEC's videos because IPSEC has, and shout out to IPSEC. I don't know you personally, but I'm a big fan. IPSEC does certain things when he shows his Hack the Box videos that I didn't even think of. He knows different commands or different techniques about stuff, and it's like I've learned a lot from watching IPSEC's videos. So if you take him down, that's going to hurt a lot of people who have experience like me, or and especially those who don't really have the experience. But you're doing that because it's considered hacking. Like I said, and that's why I put up the quotation marks earlier about the people getting, derp troll DDoSing, because that's not hacking. It's a technique, but it's not they shouldn't be considered hackers. The people who did the ransomware attacks in Florida, or the people who do ransomware attacks, period, they shouldn't be considered hackers. Like, if you look at my articles, again, another shameless plug, but I'm gonna do it. I consider myself to be a hacker, but I'm professional. Like, I'm ethical, I guess you could say, because I'm certified. I do it for a living. I work as a penetration tester. But one second here. But as far as any article I write, anytime someone does something illegal, you can check my articles. I never label them hackers. Never. I'll call them malicious attackers or something like that. Or, a malicious attacker or whatever it is. Anything else other than the word hacker. Because hacker, here it goes, right here. I am a hacker. Because hacker has this negative reputation when it comes to that word. Like, when I first got into penetration testing, half the time I didn't tell people what I did, because half the time they were perverts when they heard the word penetration testing. It was like Beavis and Butthead. You start chuckling. And then the other half, if they say, well, what's that? And I say, well, basically I'm a hacker, I get the, oh my God, are you a criminal? Don't you know that's illegal? And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I used to, like, when I got my CEH, it was like, that's an oxymoron. There's no way you can be a hacker and ethical. No, well, that certification that I just got says otherwise. This job that's paying me very well says otherwise. This platform that I have says otherwise. But you still have it. Anytime I say, like, so it's like, I'll say I'm a cybersecurity professional. And then they'll go, and then you have those who are like, oh, well, that claim they know a lot about, well, cybersecurity is a big field, so what do you do? So then at that point, it's like, okay, well, I test for vulnerabilities. Well, how do you test for vulnerabilities? Okay, so essentially people pay me to hack into their network and see what I can find before they get hacked in a real life scenario. So it's like, you would think I told them, like, I'm trafficking drugs or something. How some people respond. And then, of course, then you have the whole, the Russia thing, the 2016 election, and all that other bullshit you hear in the news. And hacker just leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Let's see. There was mention about creating a separate video streaming site for InfoSec, but you already mentioned the problems associated with that. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, is it going to be that resourceful? Is it going to be able to house everybody's videos? How are we going to monetize it? Like I said, I'll probably put it on my site, or again, put it up on Twitch. So, back to what I was saying. Yeah, that was a purpose of why I actually made this T-shirt. Not the one I'm wearing now, which I still need to provide the link so I could do my next plug. Hold on. Where are we? So, I don't know if you can see it, but it says thanks for the free Wi-Fi. But the reason why I made this other shirt that you will see shortly, right here, that says I am a hacker. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I will actually go to the page here. And the front basically just says I'm a hacker, and on the back it says I am not tech support, a criminal. I'm not always wearing a hoodie and shades. I'm not a member of the Russian or Chinese government, and I will not fix your computer, hack your girlfriend or boyfriend's phone or social media, hack into your bank or student loan account, or teach you about the dark web. Because those are honestly some of the most annoying questions I get, or some of the most annoying things I hear when I tell people what I do. Anybody who does any type of hacking or penetration testing and posts it on social media, I'm pretty sure has been bombarded with the, hey, can you hack my Facebook? Can you teach me how to hack Instagram? Can you hack such and such? Oh, it's my girlfriend's account. Oh, did I say my girlfriend? No, it's not my girlfriend's account. It's my old account that I got locked out of. So can you hack it for me? And it's just ridiculous, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's basically my beef, my rant about, people using the term hacker negatively. So like I said, so I personally feel like because of that negative reputation that people have, that's exactly why these videos are getting banned in the first place. We need to separate the two. Like I said, it's starting with certain things. Like, again, if you're in the media and you write about it, no, hackers didn't DDoS Xbox Live and Sony. Malicious attackers, or whatever the hell you want to call them, but don't call them hackers. Hackers didn't hit Florida with ransomware attacks. No, people with malicious intent did that. You're generalizing under one name, and is making the ones who actually do it for a living and do it for good purposes look bad. I mean, what about all the bug bounty hunters? What about all the penetration testers? What about all of those guys? We're gonna suffer now because YouTube says, "Oh, you're bypassing secure computer systems," which is honestly pretty funny, because if you can bypass it, then it never was really secure to begin with. But that's a story for another day. So that's pretty much what I wanted to touch on as far as what I came back. These are a few things that I felt like I wanted to address. Like I said, that really just irritated me. So a couple other things irritated me too that I didn't write about in the article, but I won't really touch on it too much. I will just say, without going into detail, if you plan on doing something, or if you plan on working on something, whether it's starting your own business or getting the certifications or getting a good career, you should always believe in yourself, and always work hard, and make sure you do it with your intentions, that you're looking out for you. Never assume that outsiders have your best interest at heart. That'll be my first. That's my first pointer. The second one is, again, if you are in a business, or whether it's doing a blog site like me or videos like me, or never let anyone else feel like, or even try to take you for granted. Whatever it is you do, whether you're in cybersecurity, or whether you're a custodian, whether you play professional sports, whatever, you worked hard to get to where you're at. So never let someone else devalue you. Know your worth. Take care of yourself as well. that's the one thing that this vacation opened my eyes with, is that I really need to work hard and be better at, taking care of myself, because, you know, running yourself into the ground isn't worth it. Yeah, the money is good, or yeah, the exposure is good, but at what cost? Um, I've been very vocal and been very open and honest about what happened to me leading up to, or when I first went to take my last exam for the OSCP, and how I got sick, and partially that was partially because of I was just I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating right, I wasn't taking care of myself, and I paid a hefty price for it. Like, I was down for months, and so beyond just cybersecurity stuff, just take care of yourself. But with that being said, I am back in the OSCP course. I have not jumped back into the labs yet, just because I have a couple other things I need to do, and I want to make sure that when I am in the labs, I am very dedicated to make sure I can be in those labs for however long I choose to be in it. I got a couple stuff things I need to take care of, or previous engagements I need to take care of. So I should be back in the labs maybe in about another, at least maybe sometime in August. Also, I don't know if anybody saw that, and it's probably over now, but Pentester Academy had a really good sale for access to their site and their courses. Like I said, so far I looked at a couple of them, and I highly recommend going to Pentester Academy. Like I said, I've been on Pentester Academy. I've been on, practical penetration testing, or practical pen test. There's a bunch of different training sites that I use. So if you're into pen testing, I would definitely take a look at those. Like I said, taking care of myself, gotta take care of your health. That's always gotta be number one. And for those of you who follow Disney characters, I do, because my daughter is like a big Disney fanatic and a big time Descendants fan, which is coming out in a couple weeks. Rest in peace to Cameron Boyce, man. Young kid, talented. And it was just, really sad to hear that, he passed away at such a young age, which again comes full circle. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself in this world. People are dropping like flies. Every time you turn around, something else is being like recalled and deemed unhealthy. And so you just got to take care of yourself. Don't get stressed about what you can't control. I know it's easier said than done. Trust me, believe me, I know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So if there aren't any questions, I'll hold on for a little bit longer. But if there aren't any questions, we could pretty much call it. Today is Tuesday, July 9th. I will probably stream again one more time this week. I'm thinking Thursday or Friday. And I promise, I keep saying that every time I do these Q&A stuff or anything like that, I'm like, the next one's going to be like a technical one. The next one's going to be like a technical one. And ends up being like another Q&A. And then I went on vacation, and now we're back. And I basically went on a rant for like an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm definitely going to get into some technical stuff. Obviously, I don't know how I'm going to do that for the viewers on YouTube, because I don't want to get flagged and I don't want to get in trouble. So I need to work those kinks out. Like I said, just so you see what I've been looking at, I've been looking at a couple things here about alternatives for YouTube. Like I said, so there's Daily Motion, so I'm going to honestly take a look at all of these and see how we can make this work, because I really want to continue producing this content. I really want to help, like I said, the next crop of cybersecurity professionals. I definitely want to give back to the community, because the community has given me so much, and provided things for my family and myself that I couldn't have done had I continued to work in all the different jobs I was working before I got into cybersecurity, or even before I got into IT. Because honestly, since I got into cybersecurity full time, this is the most successful I have been. Just technically as well as financially. So I definitely want to give back to the community and help someone else, because if it wasn't for someone looking out for me, or if it wasn't for someone showing videos or pointing videos out to me on YouTube, I wouldn't have been able to do that now. So last plug before I go: if you haven't subscribed to my Twitch, you can subscribe to Twitch. You can subscribe to YouTube. Again, I'm gonna try to make it work, but if YouTube is gonna continue, making the bad decisions that they're making, I'm not gonna continue to stress myself out trying to figure out how to make that work, and I'll just move somewhere else. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter. DJax_alpha is my Twitter. You can see it here. That's my website. This is my Twitter and my Instagram, and this is my Facebook, and this is my Twitter channel. So please subscribe. If you like any of the things that you saw as far as the merchandise, check that out. I'm uploading new merchandise weekly. I have a couple more designs that are coming up shortly, so if you want to check those out, check those out. And I have a Patreon channel that I'm working on, and I'm also working on some other things that I have coming up. Like I said, I don't want to reveal it just yet, but I'm going to be doing more like journal entries. So I created like a journal for for my progress and process going through the OSCP this time. So I'm going to, keep uploading those. I'm going to upload other articles about different things that I come across, whether it be technical or a data breach or a how-to video. I'm going to definitely try to stay more consistent with that. And yeah, so like, subscribe, hit the notification. Check out my son's YouTube channel because he definitely is super talented with his artwork, and we want to continue to encourage him. I don't know what my daughter's up to, but whatever she decides to do, she's going to be super successful as well. So I don't know if she's going to do a YouTube channel, but if she does, when I get that information, I will give it to you guys. Yeah, and she's probably a better programmer or a Python coder than I am, so that would definitely be cool. I'll probably get her to do a couple how-to stuff on the channel if she doesn't do her own channel. So sounds great. Looking forward to more of your content. See you. Mr. Demon, thank you for interacting. Thank you for joining. Like I said, like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. So, you guys take care of yourselves, and see you next time.